Good morning. How is everybody? I didn't turn the light on yet. Oh. Okay. I'm ready. Hi, George. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Melanie. Hi. All right. So today we're going to do this flower here. Thank you. Hannah says that yellow flower looks so pretty. It kind of looks like wheat. Little like wheat stalks, but I feel like it gives a nice texture for that. So I'm going to use these two colors for this flower, and we're going to do the satin stitch one day and the padded satin stitch another day. So pick two colors if you want to, or you can just choose one color. The small ones in the middle will be the padded satin stitch, and that's going to raise them up a little bit off of the fabric. And then the regular satin stitch will be all of the outside bit, so we can overlap just a little bit right here really easily. So if you choose two colors, it doesn't matter which one you put on the outside or which one you put on the inside. That's totally up to you. Just pick a color that's going to look good against this because it's going to sit right next to whatever color you picked for your flower. So I think I'm going to go with the orange for the outside satin stitch. Now I'm going to go for the red. Changed my mind again. So we're going to get a length, all 6 strands, because this is quite a big sunflower. Not sunflower, just flower. I keep looking at this one thinking, it looks really nice, but I kind of want to change the color. But we'll see. We'll see how I feel. Sorry. Okay, so I've got my 6 strands on my needle. Let's scoot this over a wee bit there. And then obviously this is where I would do, obviously for those of you who've seen this before, this is where I would do some lines on my fabric to make sure I'm keeping these nice and parallel. So I'll start with just this one here. And they're just going to be nice parallel lines like this. Parallel lines are lines that go next to each other and they never touch. So they shouldn't be like this. They shouldn't be like this. They shouldn't be crossing in any kind of way. They're always going to be right next to each other. So the trick with satin stitch is to know how thick your thread is, to know how to put these stitches next to each other without gaps in the middle like this, but also not overlapping like this. Yeah. So as we go around, they'll obviously change direction. Okay. So the easiest way, come up in the middle. So how I always do it is I like to do one side and then the other side to keep them nice and straight. You're gonna make one stitch. I'm gonna see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Just the way that this is, the shadow there. And then you're gonna come up right where we started again, right next to it. Yeah? And then down right next to it. And then you're gonna continue this for the whole shape. So what you really have to look at is the outside shape of these petals. If you want them to be pointy, then obviously you need to amend the drawing a little bit because I made them so that they're round at the tip. So that's completely up to you if you want to make them a little bit pointy like the other flower here, or you can keep them round. But we're not going to actually do any outlining or anything with this one. So make sure that you have all of your stitches where you want them to be, especially for those outside edges. And what I mean by that is that sometimes we'll do like a stem stitch around the outside, or even like a small chain stitch, and that will like clean up the edges for you. But for this one, we're not going to actually do any outside stitching on the outside edge. We're just going to let the shape of the petal and the stitches be the shape of the petal and the stitches. So it's really a simple stitch, but super useful. It's probably, oh, Jessie, my God. She's laying right where I want to stand, right underneath of me. So my legs are like this. Ugh. So that's what we're looking for. I wish the light was a little bit better. Where's my black paint? There you go. So we're looking for them all to be parallel next to each other, none of them crisscrossing, and a nice rounded tip at the top. So we'll go on to the next one, and this is what you need to do for all of the ones on the outside. So this is like the real, like the genuine way to do it. Like normally you come up from the top, go down in the bottom, up from the top, go down from the bottom. But if you look on the back, you're actually using the same amount of thread as you are on the front. So there is a thread saver way, so I'll show you that. I think it's called the surface satin stitch instead of just the, oh, look at that. Instead of just the satin stitch. So if you look, this is all thread on the back, and then this is all thread on the front. So you can save thread by doing a thread saver satin stitch, is what I call it. And the thread saver satin stitch is just that. You come up from the top, down in the bottom, and then the next one, you can come up right next to it. So this takes a little bit of practice just because you need to know how thick your thread is. But it's also really great if you're running out of thread and you're like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna have any more to finish this, and you don't want to cut a new piece. So you can use the thread, the little thread that you have. So notice I'm just coming up from the top, down to the bottom, and then up at the bottom, down at the top. So it's actually doing one of these on the back, and I'll show you the back in just a minute. The way that I use, like me personally, is a mix of the two of these. So I'll often do a regular satin stitch like I normally do, and then swap to a thread saver. Not necessarily because I need to save thread, just because that's like an easier way. It's like easy to combine them, how and where I need them. Let's just leave that on there. You can see the stitches, babe. Ooh, Jamie says this is making me want to go out and buy some autumnal colors to stitch with. They're so nice, aren't they? Although I thought this one wouldn't be so bad on screen, but it actually is quite bad on screen. You really can't see very well, so I'm really sorry about that. Okay, so we've got this done, second petal. So the front looks like this, and the back looks like this. So you can see where I've just done a skip over and then down. So you're actually saving a lot of thread this way. Both ways are okay, as long as you get the same effect on the front. There's no reason you shouldn't. It's just, you know, be a little bit careful. I don't know about everyone else, but it's quite clear on screen and easy to see. Maybe it's just me. It might just be like because I've got the light on above me and then also the skylight. So it might just be mine, like on my side, like my situation that I have to deal with. But I do know that darker colors are really hard to show up. So whenever I do any kind of like, I don't want to say black work because I don't do black work. Black work is completely different to embroidery stitching. But whenever I use black thread or really dark thread, I find that you can't really see each of the stitches very well. So I tend to try and do like a practice go, like to show an example with a different color, just because the darker colors, I don't know what's going on with them. It's harder to see them. Now, obviously, you can use less strands if you wanted to try 4 strands. If you aren't keen on like how much 6 strands comes off the fabric, then you could do that. Just drawing some lines in case anybody else wants to see. And we will go over this here. So I'll show you how to do that as well. I saved the last bit of my cereal. I opened it maybe 2 weeks ago. And I saved the very last bit of my cereal because I was like, oh, I'm going to have it, you know, just when I feel like I want some cereal. And then I put it in my bowl today and it was stale and it was so disappointing. Ugh, I couldn't eat it all. I had to put it in the toilet. I just couldn't. It was so like, wasn't even crunchy anymore or anything. Ugh, so disappointing. So I just made myself a tea, but I feel like I'm not happy with my breakfast choice today. Yeah. So, little known fact, my most favorite cereal ever, Jamie said, what cereal was it? My favorite cereal ever is Lucky Charms, and you cannot get Lucky Charms here, like, at all. You can get it on Amazon, but it's really expensive. And so I was like, I'll find some fake Lucky Charms maybe, and I'll try those. And I found these fake Lucky Charms called Marshmallow Mateys. It's probably like the worst cereal for you ever. So we found it at Sainsbury's, I think, or Tesco maybe. It's in the American section, which is funny because I don't even think that they sell that in America. Like, I've never seen that brand before. And yeah, it wasn't nice. It wasn't my last bowl of cereal. It wasn't very nice. I was going to say it's like my guilty pleasure, but it really isn't because I don't feel guilty when I eat it. I just feel happy because it reminds me of like being a kid. There's like a whole thing about Marshmallow Mateys. They have those there. Melanie, I've never seen them there. I thought it was just Lucky Charms. Yeah, I can't imagine stale Lucky Charms is very nice. By Multi-Meal. It is. It is by Multi-Meal. I think we just always got the brand name that maybe like we would like wait for it to be on sale. But yeah, Marshmallow Mateys. And it's totally my fault because I just waited too long to eat it because I was like, I'm going to save it. It's the very last bowl. I'm going to save it. Yeah, so that's my favorite cereal, guys. Okay, so when you go over, before I talk about guilty pleasures, because I would like to discuss this. When you go over this bag here, there's going to be a little bump, because if you look, this is only 6 strands, and this right here is a lot. So you will get a little bump there. If you prefer to tuck this flower behind the bag, you can, but I'm going to do it over top. So when you do this, you want to, because it's just a little bit, you can kind of make up a little round, like the end of the petal here. All you want to do is make sure that your needle is going straight up and down. So you don't want it to go on an angle like this or anything like that, because what's going to happen is when you pull your thread through, you're actually going to pull these strands apart, and it will look like this. So you'll see this like pulling like that. So you want to just make sure that you've gone straight down. So for this one, I think it's just right on the edge. So I'll keep it like that. So you want to keep it so it's straight down, and then it just kind of looks like it's naturally gone over the edge. Because this one's just a little bit, I'll just do the little edge here. And I wouldn't suggest the thread saver method for this part, only because I don't want to come up through these. I want to make sure I'm going down through them straight. Oh no. All but one. Come on. That's annoying. Okay. My stomach is like a rumbling because it's like I wanted to eat more. So there's one. Give it a nice little rounded situation there. And we'll go back and do this one. The same. Obviously this one will be a little bit more deep in there. So just make sure that you are, however far in you decide to go, just make sure that you are there. Jamie says, do you ever shop in Tesco? I'm pretty sure that you can buy Lucky Charms from there. I looked at Tesco, but I didn't actually see any Lucky Charms there. It might just be ours. They only had these marshmallow Métis in the American section. I didn't do a very nice shape with this one. That's okay. We have a nice shop in our town that specializes in American, etc. food and drink. I'll see if they do Lucky Charms for you. Is it called Chezzy something? I follow someone on Instagram who does like all American stuff, but the problem is that it's so expensive. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really don't want to pay like £7 for cereal. Like, that's nuts. These ones are on sale for £2. I think you can get them at Poundland as well. These, what are they called? Marshmallow Métis. That's probably good. I might do one more here. Now, if you mess up and you see Chezzy Flavors, that's what it is. Yeah, I think Meg posted something about it, or she bought something from there maybe. I follow them, and I'm always like, oh, I might have to buy some stuff. But it's just expensive. Yeah. And like, I think it's different because I know how much they cost at home. So I'm just tying a knot here and getting a new piece. Because I know how much they cost at home. Like normally, cereal is more expensive than when I was a kid, obviously. but it's still like really expensive. Like all like the Little Debbie snacks they have and stuff, those are like 2 for $1. So it's like 2 for 75p. And they're like 2 pounds each from there. So obviously it's like, you know, because they have to import it and everything. So like there'll be fees on top of every, you know, do you know what I mean? Like you're paying for American stuff. But sometimes I'll just wait until next year. It'll be fine. And until then, I have my marshmallow mateys, which are not exactly the same, but they're very similar. They do a job, if that makes sense. So yeah, guilty pleasures. So someone was talking about guilty pleasures, and they were saying, like, what's your guilty pleasure, blah, blah, blah. And I was a bit like, do you know what, Carrie, I've never been in either. Carrie says, to be honest, I've never been in, so I didn't realize the prices. I haven't ever been there either, but they show them on their Instagram sometimes. So I feel like for what it is, because it's American food in England and you really can't get it, a lot of this stuff, unless you go to America, it's good value, you know? Because obviously if you want it, you'd have to go to America. So it's like you'd rather pay the 2 pounds. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I'm like slating them off, but I'm really not. Or slagging them off or whatever it's called. When really it's just that because I'm American, I know how much they cost. So like if I was really craving something like a Little Debbie honey bun, oh my Christ, they're so good. They're like the worst food ever. Or like a fudge round. Oh, I love a fudge round. Jamie T says, what's your favorite American snack food that you cannot buy in the UK? Oh, that's so hard because there's so many things that I would eat like when I go there in the summer that I probably wouldn't eat every day if I had them here. You know? Yeah, Carrie says, obviously they have to cover what it costs them to get them over here. Yeah, exactly. So like when you think about that, it's like not that, you know, it's like not that expensive. I freaking love a fudge round though. They're so delicious. Those like little Debbie snacks, they're such a weak spot. But also just things like Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts are always good, which they're not healthy in any kind of way for you, period. But, you know. White cheddar Cheetos. Oh my gosh, yes. Their Cheetos organic range, which I don't know how organic Cheetos can get. Like, sorry, but they are still Cheetos. But they do these white cheddar Cheetos. Oh, I will demolish bags of them. Or like fruit slices, those little like soft gummy fruit slices that are shaped like fruit and they have like sugar around them. Those are always good. Country Market, what's it called? Garlic salt for garlic bread. Heard that chocolate in America tastes different, a lot different from UK. See, I'm not really a huge chocolate fan. Like David can literally just like sit there and eat chocolate. I'm going to put a couple more stitches on this one because there's a big separation. But I'm not really like a big chocolate person. Like I'll have like chocolate ice cream or like soft serve ice cream is amazing. No, I still haven't gotten my package, Mom. She sent me a package on like the 14th of August and I haven't had an update from the 18th of August. But I check every day. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm sure I'll find it in Hong Kong or something again. They have a lot of Cadbury's chocolate in Australia, and it just tasted gross. Australia chocolate is not the one. Huh. That's really interesting. I do like white chocolate, but I like white chocolate, which is like those hollow chocolate bunnies. Again, probably horrible for you. But around Easter, they have those like Easter bunnies that are made of chocolate, and then they have the ones that are like hollow on the inside. Oh, those are so good. Like the cheap brand. But yeah, David could just like take a bar of chocolate and just eat the whole thing. Whereas I don't think I could. Jamie says, I didn't like Hershey chocolate in America, but all the other chocolate was delish. I don't mind Hershey chocolate. I don't eat, like I said, I don't eat it like straight out of the thing, but out of the package. But we have it with s'mores. And it's really good. Ooh, Carrie says that white chocolate, she loves it, but it gives her migraines. Yeah, David's brother, every time that he has cinnamon, apparently, it gives him a migraine. Jamie says, I freaking love chocolate. It's my favorite food. Then you and David would be, like, perfect. Or not, because you'd be, like, fighting over the chocolate, you know? But at Little last week, they had some Hershey's chocolate, and one was mint and cookies. So it's, like, instead of, like, cookies and cream, it was, like, a mint flavor and cookies, and that was pretty good. But I bought it 2 weeks ago, and I still have half of it left. And then I bought one that was birthday cake or something. It was meant to be, like, birthday cake and sprinkles or something like that. But, yeah, I still have half of that left as well. I didn't really like that one. But yeah, real quick about guilty pleasures. I saw someone on their Instagram the other day. They said there's something about what's your guilty pleasure. And people were saying things that seemed really normal. As in like taking a long bath. Like that doesn't seem like a guilty pleasure to me. That just seems like a normal thing. Like that you just like. Or like someone said like watching Twilight. And it's like, that just seems like a personal preference, like something that you like. So it's led me to conclude, like to myself, that guilty pleasure is not such a thing. You like what you like, and that's it. Done. Jamie says, what's guilty about a long bath? I don't know, like maybe they had kids, or like maybe they had like a lot of housework and they like did that instead or something. But that's just like a personal preference, I think. Like if you need a long bath, then take a long bath, girl. Nothing guilty about that. Or if you like Twilight, then you like Twilight. Like don't feel guilty about the things that make you happy. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. You know? And like I think we're so used to people like judging us for like what we like and what we don't like that it's turned into like our genuine likes are just guilty pleasures now. Like I can't think of one thing that was like a quote unquote guilty pleasure that people named that wasn't just a genuine opinion, you know? Jamie T says, I agree. I think some things you might feel embarrassed about and might not want to share, but I think you just love what you love and it shouldn't be a guilty pleasure. Exactly. And like all the people who were saying stuff, it was literally just stuff like, are you just embarrassed that you like this thing? Or like, do you feel like you should be spending your time elsewhere? And that's why you feel like you're guilty for liking it / doing it. I don't know, but it just got me thinking, like, just like what you like and just own it, you know? If you like it, then you like it, and there's nothing to be, like, ashamed of. I'm not gonna lie, when I am really stressed out, I always watch Twilight, always. because I know what's going to happen in the film. The music is good in it. It's nice and calming. It's not like a war movie, you know, or anything where there's like lots of like fighting and like guns and like machine sounds and stuff like that. It's a very chill movie, very easy to watch. I saw one other place. That's why I'm putting it back on my needle. And it just makes me happy. Or Harry Potter. I watch Harry Potter a lot too. But it's like, don't feel embarrassed for the things that genuinely make you happy. Like that's like something that's special about you. Okay, so this is what we've got. I'm just going to do a little knot. And then one quick note about, do you see how I skipped all over at the very, very end? I always say, have a little look at what you've done. And if there's any pieces that you feel like you should, come on, separate, that you should add a little bit to. So like I had a couple places where I just really needed to, you know, sort it out a little bit, add a couple stitches or whatever. Go and do those now whilst you still have your color. One, if you're like me, you might lose the color. But also you have it now. So if you use it later, you might not have it anymore, you know? Also, make sure when you're jumping around that you're not jumping around on a place where when the light shines through it, you're gonna see the thread. So all of mine were all inside of here. So I try not to go like from here to here, straight across. Let me zoom in again. I hope I'm making sense. I try not to go from here to here straight across because this is a dark color thread and you'll see all of these lines that are behind it. So you can even see here where I've jumped here and jumped here and jumped here. They have like a dark shadow to them. So you really want to keep all of the dark colors inside the shape, and that way you won't see them behind in other things. And this is especially important when you do any dark color period or black, because black is always going to show through a little bit on your white fabric. So if you have a darker fabric, then don't worry. Just willy-nilly, whatever you want, because you probably won't be able to see through it. But when you hold it up to the light like this, you'll definitely be able to see any of these little things that go through. And it still happens if you put a fabric behind it. So some people will stitch all of their design, and then when they go to put it in their final frame or hoop, they'll put another piece of fabric behind it. You'll still see those lines that go around. So always try and keep your dark colors in the shape of the dark color. Yeah. So I always say that, especially if we're doing something where we have to jump around a lot, like these little leaves like this. You know, you don't want to just go wherever, because this is where all the white fabric is going to be, and you want to be able to see through that. So this is what I've got for today. Tomorrow we're going to do the padded satin stitch. There's only a couple of these here. So hopefully it won't be too tedious for you. You do have to stitch it twice, so it will be a little bit longer, but because there's not as many petals, was it 8? 8? It should go a little bit faster. So yeah, there we go. So that's it from me today. Make sure that you go to the hashtag #TheBarmyFoxSAL. Leave some likes and comments. Real quickly, just brace yourself. There you go. So I've had to stand with my legs apart the entire time. Jessie, should I go get you a treat? Should I go get you a treat? Is it time for a treat? All right. Have a great day, and I will talk with you tomorrow. All right. Bye.